Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new tier list video. Obviously, I know this is long awaited. New patch just came out, OB11, so I figured it would be the best time to kind of get started with something brand new. So we're just going to get kind of right into it. Obviously, this is for all roles. With our tiers here, we have S tier being, kind of your best gods in the game. A tier being your uh, obviously like average, but also just good characters. B tier being a little bit below average, C tier being kind of unviable, and RIP for just don't play. This is going to be in order, so the number one god of A tier is the best god in A tier and is, kind of in that pseudo A plus tier, which obviously we don't have for this, and that goes on for every single tier. So left to right does matter. But again, this is for all roles, so not just solo lane, obviously. And if you want to see a specific solo lane one, let me know. We could definitely do that. So Achilles, just to start with, we'll put him in A tier. Right near the top, he'll probably be really solid laning phase character in solo. He's a little bit unsafe, which when you're contrasting him with other solo laners who have more safety and also have a lot of pressure, kind of is just a detriment for the character. But an execute is a really good value. The protection builds full tank are obviously very good into the late game, which sometimes tanks can kind of struggle scaling into the late game. So Achilles has, good early game push, good fight, great late game survivability. It just is kind of early to mid game safety can be a little bit low. Either way, matchups are pretty good. You're always kind of happy to pick Achilles, solid frontliner. Agni is going to go into S tier. This is not really for regular Agni, who'd probably be an A tier. This is completely for Aspect Agni and ADC. The idea with this character and really what makes him so strong is that when you are in a game where number one, pressure and duo is very important, as I've talked about that ad nauseum in a ton of videos, you're always looking at your hunter to have either pressure or safety or both in a perfect world. And Agni's safety is pretty good. Number one, just having a knockup immunity is a big deal in a kit. And then on top of that, having a stun to peel, to set up, just to CC in general. On top of the fact that you're going this crit auto attack build with Lernian Bow, there's not really great magical defense items. I think in the game, Nemean just got nerfed as well. And there's no anti-magical crit item besides, obviously Spectral, which is physical defense. So, like, itemizing into magical crit characters as a whole, just really, really difficult. And as a result, you have this character that wins lanes, has a ton of pressure, a lot of early good fight, pretty safe, and I think most importantly, just sort of doesn't, uh, get hindered by a lot of the tank builds that feel really good right now. Aladdin's also going to go in this S tier behind Agni. This character got a couple of little nerfs recently. I don't think they're actually extremely impactful or meaningful, but they still, I guess, just, lower his early game damage, a little bit of his lane pressure. Aladdin obviously is so powerful because of how evasive he is, how good his 1v1s are, his scaling, how strong that is. But just because the character, can get counterpicked somewhat easily by gods like Ares, by gods like a Wheelish, and also the fact that bead's a little bit more prevalent in the meta than in the past, which I know sounds crazy, but there was a lot more sunders and shells in different times. I think makes him a little bit worse. That doesn't mean by any means he's not like a ban. Just not the best god in the game, where now he's probably like a top 3 god in the game. So a very subtle shift. For Amaterasu, this one's a weird one. So obviously, this god is pretty infamous for auto speed, spamming it in jungle and playing the PvE style. For this tier list, like all intensive purposes, I try to always make my tier list semi like competitive centric, but obviously ranked is kind of like the driving force in a lot of ways. I would put this character in B tier. I don't actually think she's an amazing god. She really only functions well with a full damage build in the jungle, and solo lane she's garbage. That's why even though it's my probably most played character in Smite 1, or one of my most, I don't play her in this game. You really need to go full damage. So that's like a big deal because if you can't go full damage, well, you're useless. And if you go full damage, you can't team fight, you have to split. So you're looking for 1v1s all the time, you're a duelist, but even with that, Sunbeam Bow got a little bit of a nerf. The PvE playstyle got a couple of nerfs recently as well. doesn't have a spot in any role besides, again, jungle, and then you have to come into a Sunder OBJ build like Autospeed does, and, it can work. I think a lot of this character, and I want to be clear with every character, you could be playing a RIP character that we have later, and still do well because you're a good player, or you're against players they're better than, or whatever the case might be. But it's just about, like, realistically, should you be playing the character? And again, Ama, B tier, a little bit below average, wouldn't rush to play it, don't think she's great right now. And yeah, her jungle viability is the only thing that's keeping her here. If she didn't have that, she might be in C. But on her, we're going to put in A tier as well. This character, a very safe hunter. Again, we talked about pressure and safety as being the big things for ADCs. He's got a good blend of both. His pressure is, maybe not necessarily the highest in the hunters, but it's one of the highest, and his safety is very, very high. His DPS, maybe not like an Agni level, but still just has the pillar for the slowing. The ultimate's a little bit meh, but at least it's a lot of CC immunity. And, Impale combo, obviously super solid always. And just sort of like one of the kind of cookie cutter, strong, good hunters that's always kind of solid. Always get into wall comps. And you have a lot of those in the game right now, so yeah, it kind of fits. Anubis, we're going to put in the top of A tier, above Achilles, not in S tier. I want to try to keep S tier a little bit exclusive, but Anubis's pressure in soul lane is incredible, and mid lane it's incredible. That's really when you're going to see him in those two roles, and when you have that much pressure on a character, on top of the fact that your lanes are very easy because of Bloodbound, normally Anubis was this character that could kind of pressure out a lane, but because he was so unsafe because of his fight, and the way he has to position to get damage off, it was a big problem. Really not in this game. You have wind sprites and stuff to get you out. You can go Cersei's Hexstone on this god for repositioning, which you go commonly on damn near every god in the game right now. And just having Bloodbound book with Typhons, you heal so much, you can 1v2 a ton of the times. You generate so much pressure in solo that even if you get ganked and die, it usually doesn't even matter. This character, honestly, you can make an argument should be higher depending on the rank you're in. But I think just with some, like decent pressure picks in solo or mid, you can deal with this character. But generally speaking, I mean, he just terrorizes lobbies and is one of the best gods in the game, which is absurd to say. I never felt like I was going to be saying that with Anubis, but here we are. So Aphrodite is next up. This one's a little bit weird. I'm not actually sure how I want to rate her. I feel like she's definitely kind of taken a hit. I'm gonna put her on the back end of A tier. I know it's been a while, but I think there's been enough meta shifts with anti-heal getting a bit reduced. Uh, Tank supports who are like frontliners getting better. That she's still playable, she's still solid, but she's a little bit worse. So really where you're gonna see Afro's value is if you can get a pocket pick Afro with certain characters, especially mid laners in the game or junglers like Kali, Zeus for mid, couple other picks like that. If you can, even Mordred and solo, if you can link Afro with a really high kind of carry character, you're gonna win the game a lot of the time. But Aphrodite, I think, takes a bit of a step back. No Sunder like well, there is Sunder viability on the god, but you don't love going Sunder on her. It's a very Sunder dominated meta and support. So that can be a really big problem. Obviously struggles into Sobek a little bit. And Ymir, so still a good character. Definitely still a solid support. Wouldn't really recommend playing her outside of support. Soul lane, not so great. Mid lane's okay. But I think that's a solid spot for her. Apollo, we're going to put in S tier, and this is not actually for regular Apollo, who I'd probably put in A tier. I think he's fine. But it's for the aspect. This aspect, I've talked about a lot, how it's pretty problematic, to put it lightly. The big issue and kind of thing with it is when you have an aspect that is converting basically a full tank build into, being able to do damage, you get a full tank build in solo and support that's able to not only like generate pressure but farm quickly. And normally when you play solo or support, if you wanted to farm quickly by yourself, you need to build damage, right? And when you build damage, what happens? You lose trades. Why? Because damage gets out traded by defense. So if I go, let's say Pendulum Blade on Thor solo, and I'm into a first item Mystical Male Sobek, I'm gonna struggle in a lot of the trades if I just kind of brawl with him. Now, I'm not supposed to in that matchup, but the point is I'm gonna struggle in the trades because he's got defense, he's got health, and I just have damage. So as a result, I have to play like a little bit faster, play more to clear, play more to fight, because of course I can't fight the guy because he's got defense. But I can clear faster because I have damage. So that's like the trade-off normally. The problem with Apollo, and again, I talked about this a lot in Weekend's Elo Hell video that I reacted to. So if you want to check that out, please do. When we were critiquing the solo game, it's a couple days ago I posted that. But the big thing with Apollo and really what he changes is that you build full defense on this character, like you would on a lot of solo laners ideally, but you have the clear speed because your one scales off of health. So it doesn't really matter that you build full tank, you still do the damage of a damage dealer. So your clear is good, you farm, you get ahead, despite the fact that you're building safe and you're impossible to fight. So as a result, just is OP, and yeah, this pick is a nightmare. I mean, I feel like even now that I have some reps and stuff into it, you can just kind of like lose to the character instantly. So if you're less experienced, especially, I mean, you're just doomed. This pick is broken. Ares, A tier, top end as well. This god is extremely strong. Very, very good support. You can play him in solo sometimes. Just kind of depends on your matchups, but the CC, the control, cripples are so valuable right now in Smite into characters like the Morrigan with Aspect. Really anybody with the dash, obviously, or a jump. On top of the fact that his 2's passive is really like one of the only auras in the game. So just being able to give your team buffs is actually like a pretty novel concept in Smite 2, right? Because anything that gives you like some kind of aura value is ultimately just better because there's like none to compare to. So before, Ares obviously was struggling a bit, but they buffed his 2 a lot. Obviously, do not go aspect on this character. Very important to not do that because you're not going to get those 2 buffs. But his chains are, again, obviously still valuable. His burn just got buffed today, actually, or yesterday, excuse me. And his ultimate, although maybe not always as desirable as you'd want, it's still a beats burn. And just paired with the rest of the kit, the god ends up being a really solid support counter pick. Pressure pick, early draft, late draft, doesn't really matter. Aphrodite getting a little bit worse also helped him a ton. Going into Artemis now, I think we're going to put Artemis towards the top of A tier, right ahead of Achilles, but behind Anubis. I think with Artemis, she is a little, well, maybe a lot less safe than on her in some ways. It kind of depends, but the Cersei's Hexstone builds really does kind of carry her out of being extremely unsafe. Her pressure is fantastic. Her damages are really good. She syncs well with the crit builds and the pen builds. Having a stim in your kit is just awesome for objectives and stuff. And yeah, your damage output is just incredible. Tusky, although sometimes a little bit awkward, just having that CC on a backliner really dissuades a lot of junglers. You kind of force Magi's a lot of the time, sometimes even going Bees. And, let's say you have a Amaterasu jungle with Sunder, or you have a jungler who wants to go Aegis for whatever reason, or a jungler who wants to go Shell for whatever reason, or even if they do go Beads, it stops, certain gods like a Wheelish from going Blink. It just creates a lot of issues for junglers, but also just divers in general. Uh, Even though she's like quote unquote unsafe, and again, you go Cersei's, you kind of get away with the lack of safety most of the time. This character just super strong, high damage output, and really a premier ADC pick. Athena. So Athena got buffed yesterday, and she was kind of seeing a bit of a rise in the solo lane in Smite. There's a couple of solo laners at the top end who do like her a lot. Cherio is one of them. Psycho is another one. I haven't honestly played this pick a lot myself, truthfully, which is like awesome coverage by me, I know. But she did just get buffed. I think they buffed her damage a little bit. I think they buffed the slow on her 3, maybe. I'm not exactly sure. But overall, I mean, even though, she's seeing some more play, I kind of just need a little bit more info on this pick. I don't think she's awesome right now. I don't think she's horrible. The high CC value's there. The ultimate is obviously really strong. The cooldown's quite long. I don't see how this pick gets out of a lot of laning phases, like, consistently. Because some of them, into certain, like, pressure picks, like Mordred, like Cabrakan, even Hades to some degree, really can kind of just ruin her day. So I'm going to put her at the top of B tier with the potential to go up to A. I just kind of need more practice on this pick, more game seen, because the little smidgets I've seen it, it's looked really good. Um, but I don't know, I don't see it a lot, and there's kind of a reason for that too, where it's like a little bit of an inconsistent pick. I think maybe one of those comp risers that's not the best in ranked, so I just kind of need to see it more in general to get a better grasp, but could be a little bit low on this. Uh, a Wheelish, we're gonna put right at the top of A tier. I'm debating an S tier. This guy is incredibly strong, super good pace pusher. And with their threes being really inconsistent, you kind of knock people up when they're facing you. Sometimes it's miserable. Really, the only reason that I'm not putting Wheelish higher is when you have a knock-up character that's obviously really relying on that, and you're in a game where Anubis is really good, Artemis is really good. A lot of gods that are good into a Wheelish are good in the game. So that doesn't mean she's bad, because obviously she's good into picks like Aladdin, good into picks like Anhur, good into later picks we'll see like Kali, but there are enough like good gods into her that I think you can draft pretty reasonably and kind of counter her. Her pressure is very good. Her early game's still incredible. You can go dagger and like Hydras to, like do objectives pretty easily as well. So this character is definitely not bad by any means, ever, even in games where she's kind of counterpicked. But you can make an argument that she's a little bit weaker than this S tier, which again isn't really saying much. Bacchus, I'm not a fan of this god. I'm gonna put him in B tier. I don't think he's horrible, but I don't know. He's gotten so many like slight little buffs. I thought he would be good by now. He doesn't seem that good. I mean, I think he's not viable in solo. The aspect's garbage. So you're playing this god in support at all if you're playing him, and I don't know. Just honestly, like I'm not that impressed whenever I see this god. I kind of feel like he's should be better than he is. Again, he's got good anti-heal and stuff. I'm not going to understate that because that is relevant in this game. But that's kind of it. I don't know. I don't love his flop. I think it's fine, but he's not nearly as tanky as he was in Smite 1. So the aggressive playstyle, I think, feels kind of patronizing almost. And yeah, I don't know. Not much to say. Not a lot of good to say, though. Baron, we're going to put him in the A tier. So this is probably really surprising because I think a lot of YouTubers, again, I'd have to look at the tier list, but I know Weekend just made one. I bet you Inbound made one recently or is going to, and Fino might even have one among some other people, Intersect as well. I think generally, and again, I could be wrong on this, but I think generally the consensus thought is that this god is garbage. We're going to put him behind on her. But that's kind of the belief. This god is trash. This god's garbage. Don't play him. And this isn't to do with the aspect that's going to come out. I have no idea how good that's going to be, but this is just all about kind of the context of the character. I think Baron is a hard pick. He's a support pick who's a counter initiator, and that playstyle is just a little bit finicky and weird as it is. And you have to like not be horrible at the game to do it. So if you're a content creator and stuff, chances are you're not playing this. You have a teammate who's playing this, and they're shitting it up. Again, I don't think this character is for everybody. I don't think he's super easy. He's again a counter initiation support. Support's usually already the worst players in the lobby. I'm just being honest, and the fact that it's fitting a weird playstyle just makes a lot of problems. This god again functions very well with anti-initiation, peel, healing, setup, isolating tanks especially. But that's just like not always something you can count on. Especially in ranked, you need comms for this character for him to be better. In a lot of ways, he's kind of like Athena. But his competitive value is incredible. He's very good into a lot of support picks. Ymir, even Sobek, Aphrodite. Really kind of just getting so much value into the top end supports, even Ares, makes this character fine. And that's kind of a weird place to put him so high, because he can struggle into other picks, especially solo laners that are not frontliners. But I'm of the impression that frontline solos are better than mage solos, and I obviously am pretty hard set on that. So yeah, I mean Baron into games with double frontliners does great, and that's ultimately I think what's the best thing in Smite. So A tier it is. Bologna. We're going to some trash now. This is going to go right down to C tier. This character sucks. Yeah, there's really nothing to say. The only way you can kind of make her work is Eye of the Storm, which is bugged right now, to be stronger than it actually is. So assuming you're not going a literally bugged item to make her work, she's garbage. This god sucks. Her laning phase is awful. The problem with Bellona, she's just not safe enough to actually do anything. So you can't really super pressure. The best way to play her is to get your aspect and to get your 1 at level 1, shield bash, and just kind of fight. She has another bug right now with shield bash where she's giving block stacks to her minions. This was in the game, then got fixed, then it's back in the game. So she's probably B tier right now because of bugs, but she's a bad god. Like there's no reason to play Bellona right now. Now I want to be clear. Normally, guys, when a character is bad, I'll say they need to be buffed. I don't actually think Bellona needs to be buffed. I think this is very much a meta reason why she's bad, where right now, when you look at the auto attack builds for warriors, and by the way, her jungle is just not relevant enough to build or to play her in, so her jungle is okay. It's kind of like Amaterasu, just a worse version, but yeah, not a big reason to play her. But she's fine in terms of her kit and stuff. You know, Bludgeon's a bit weak, but her items right now just aren't very good. Like when you looked at the auto attack solo build for Smite 1, you had a Frostbound, you had a very good kin size, you had Animosity Axe, a very cheap executioner with anti-heal glyph if you needed it. A lot of just like auto attack kind of utility for solo laners to still be tanky. And then Shogun's was really good as well. Just a lot of options. I think what you find in Smite 2, though, is that if you want to build auto attack on a solo laner, you kind of just get in this trap of like, shouldn't I just keep building damage? And if you build only a little bit of auto attack damage, like just a braggy, so you feel like you don't do anything, and then you're not even that tanky because you usually have Death's Toll as well. So you have like Death's Toll, braggy's full tank, you don't do any damage, you're not tanky, it's a disaster. And then if you go full damage, you're like just a jungler at that point, and then there's better junglers, and it's like, what's the point? I just think basically what I'm saying is gods like Bellona, gods like Amaterasu in solo lane really just kind of need better warrior bruiser auto attack items, which just aren't really in the game yet. I'm interested to see how it's going to look eventually, but again, this is very much a meta thing. I don't think Bellona needs a buff. I just think right now is not her time. And you see the Bluestones and the Warriors X's of the world get a little bit worse. You see Pendulum Blade and whatnot get a little bit worse. She'll probably slowly just indirectly rise up. So yeah, Kabrak in A tier, we're going to put him right behind Ares. This pick is incredible in the solo lane. Fantastic fight. The only issue with him is his clear is a little bit slow at times. I think going Bluestone's the best way to counter that with the 6 health pot build and Shell. That being said, again, his trades are very good. You really have to kind of be a pretty strong soul laner to get around how just like lane dominant this character can and usually is. The pendulum builds in him feel great. You cycle out of cooldowns. Again, you have so much lane pressure, a lot of safety. He has a couple bad matchups. I don't love him into Mordred. He's quite bad into Sobek, but aside from that, feeling really good into most picks. I know he's kind of a full commit character, so you see that, and you're like, hey, you know, that's kind of bad into mages, no? Like backliners, doesn't he struggle into those in the lane? And the answer is not really. I know I need to have like a comprehensive video on how to play into backliners specifically, but yeah, no, Cab's full commit is just incredible. Like he kind of just breaks some of the rules of a lot of those matchups, and into the frontliners, he's great. Just so much fight, so much safety. Again, I really recommend Bluestone on this pick to clear. And yeah, you're always going to be happy with Cab. All right, so Cerberus, we're going to put him in A tier. I'm going to put him behind Afro. So I like Cerb a lot. I think he's actually really underplayed. Uh, the reasons why I think this character is good is number one. So Mordred, which we'll talk about later, I think is the best soul laner in the game. And he is probably the best character to play into Mordred from a laning phase perspective. I'm not sure I'm like 1000% on that, but he's one of the best, if not the best, because of the anti-alias built in. And then obviously because he does magical damage, he kind of dissuades the first item Phoenix Shield. With the Mordred lanes, they're just trying to like not get behind. So he can offset getting behind better than a lot of picks while being safe. So that's huge. We're going to talk about, you know, a lot of other picks later, but people have this conception with Cerberus that because his damage feels a little bit worse than Smite 1's, he has to be like a worse character. He has to be bad. And I think the fact of the matter is, in a one relic game, the fact that Serb is so safe automatically makes him great. He's like the Jingwei of Guardians. That leap is incredibly safe. Again, he doesn't get countered by a Wheelish in this game nearly as hard, because if you get pulled out of your jump, you still have your jump. So assuming you can get it off, you'll be fine. Obviously, you can go shell on this character and just kind of brawl in the lane. Aspect can be good sometimes. It really just depends. But rushing like a damage item on this guy, I have a lot of Serb commentaries. I really recommend checking those out if you're kind of unsure of the value of this pick. But I really do think he's good, and his laning phase is again super solid. So just a solid, great pick. The only thing that's really keeping him from going higher is, again, his damage proportionally to some characters is a bit low. But again, the safety, the fact that he's a magical character in a game where magical defense is kind of bad, and the fact that he has anti-heal as well gives him a lot of good looks. I think he's just all around a better Bacchus, just outright. Okay, Kerninos. Yeah, this one's tough. I love Kern. I think this god's awesome. I'm gonna put him in B tier behind these two gods, though. As much as I love the character, his pressure is awesome. You guys remember I talked about two things: pressure and safety, being the big things for hunters. And where I think Kerninos has a lot of pressure, this guy just doesn't feel safe ever. Even, with the Cersei's Hexstone builds, I don't get the gist. I don't know. Like, it's a bit unfortunate. This guy is so fun. He does so much damage, but there are characters that give more pressure if that's what you're looking for. And if you're looking for safety, there's gods that give more safety. He's kind of just in this weird spot where I feel like there's characters that do what he wants better than him. This god, again, is not bad, but so easy to gank. I mean, with some of the prominent junglers in the game, like Nemesis, Pele, Thor, Fenrir, especially, I mean, he kind of just dies. Hunbats as well. He kind of just dies, and when you're just kind of dying, uh, yeah, it's not a good look. I mean, I don't know. Like ADCs need to survive, so if you're dying, yeah, not a good look. Not a great character. I think he's okay. You can play him, but yeah, a little bit worse for wear for sure. Chalk, we're gonna put him in the higher end of A tier, right above Achilles. Uh, Again, safety is important, just in general, even in solo lane. The aspect builds on this character are very strong. They really give him a lot of value, and in a way, he sort of kind of gets the Apollo benefit, where you can build pretty tanky, but your aspect is letting you clear a little bit better than normal. So he's not by any means like a broken top tier god in the game, but he's one of the better solos for sure. I think you can even make an argument he could be above Kabrakan and could be a little bit higher. Uh, but yeah, this pick is very consistent. He's very safe, generally speaking. You can sack Prophetic Cloak very well on him, which is a huge benefit. I think the only way that this character I think has some weaknesses is just that, Chalk in Smite 1 was this kind of full commit, you just hard run at the backliners. Chalk in Smite 2 is a little bit more on spacing, using your rain as kind of like a hurting ability, and it's a lot more space control. Again, that doesn't make him bad, but it just means his full commit's a little bit worse in this game, and when backliners are generally building a defense item, and sometimes two with Warrior's X, depending on the character, I feel like that can be a bit of a problem. Again, that doesn't mean he's a bad god by any means, but where a god like Kabrakan can kind of dive a backliner and always kill him, that's not always the same to be said for Chalk. Again, that's not always his job, but yeah, I just think he can be a little bit less consistent overall in terms of like fighting value, especially without combat blink, in this game. So still a good pick though. I mean, absolutely play Chalk. I always recommend if you're a new player in the role, play Chalk. Cupid going into B tier as well. Yeah, the cripple should be better. I don't know how to say it besides that. I feel like this guy should be better than he is, but I don't like him. Odin Cage is good. It's a thing. Uh, he doesn't feel that safe. His healing, although I suppose okay, I don't think makes I don't think you're picking Cupid so you have a sustained god for poke in the Fire Giant trades. I don't know. I mean, he's fine. Like, all the hunters kind of do the same thing, but I feel like his pressure is just not the best. His team fighting's solid, but no CC immune ult. Again, he's safer than Kerninos, but he's got less pressure than Kern. Uh, I don't know. I'm really just not impressed by Cupid. I feel like he's kind of just meh. Uh, and that's really all I have to say about it. I don't have much else to say. He's kind of just invisible. I don't see this god ever. Dan Zaburo, I see this god a lot, but I think it's because he's fun, not because he's good. Dan Zaburo is going into the C tier, so there are aspect builds with like Nimble Ring that are fun. There are aspect builds in general that are really fun. There are regular builds without aspect that are fun. But that's kind of all they are, fun. This god's not good. There's really no way to put it. He's not safe enough. His damage is actually decent, but with how awkward his matchups can be, how easy he is to get chased and killed down. Again, I mean, you're playing some of these top junglers, there's zero threat of this character. So, yeah, as annoying as it can be, especially in like laning phases, I think this is just one of those characters that if you just survive and are even with, you just outscale every time almost in team fights. He really functions better as like a split pusher. But again, at that point, like, I don't know, I'd rather play a safer god if I'm playing a split pusher, just a better god overall. Yeah, not the best. Fenrir, S tier. This god is incredibly strong, I think better than Aladdin. Now, I'm going to also put Aladdin a little bit lower because I think subjectively, like, he's a harder character than a lot of these picks. And I don't really try to, like, because this is, again, I'm in Deity, Grandmasters, whatever you want to call it. Deity sounds cringe, to be honest, but uh, I'm assuming people are playing these picks correctly. But even then, the ease at which Fenrir like takes like skill wise, like the fact that he's so easy and is so good and puts so much pressure on the map is like a big deal. I'm even gonna put him above Apollo. This is obviously for jungle. You can play him solo and support. His best role is definitely jungle, and it's not even close. But yeah, the counter jungling, the invading at level 1 shenanigans with Sunder you can go on this god. The build is, with like Braggies and Tierfing and Pharaoh's Curse, and yeah, you just kind of kill people. Again, the damage is ridiculous. The early pressure is crazy. This game is so snowbally that you can kind of just auto win. I'm actually going to put him above Agni aspect as well. Yeah, this guy's just incredible. He kind of just runs lobbies. You really have to make an effort if you're playing Fen to counter jungle at level 1, or you should because you can just use your pressure so well. But yeah, literally no god beats this god in a fight as you start to get some items, and you can kind of just like run the lobby instantly. The fact that you're forcing players to go beads when they want Sunder, sometimes especially supports, is huge as well. And I mean, yeah, this god's just awesome. There's nothing else to say about it. Geb, speaking of not awesome, we're going to put him in C tier at the top. So, Erosion just came out. There was a very big shield meta, and there kind of still is, and even then, Geb's not good. No pressure. Pick is useless in solo lane. And yeah, I mean, that's really just it. Backline defensive support's not that great in this game, besides Aphrodite. Um, and the ones that are better, like Baron, they have like other utility. I think Geb not having Blink really hurts him. Again, you can go Shell and stuff, but with like Erosion now being in the game, hurts him a little bit. You could even go Shield Splitter into a god like this. I know crit builds are meta, but the pen builds on ADCs are totally fine as well. So as long as there's not a stubborn ADC, which, yeah, good luck on that. Might have to move him up just for that. But realistically, you just build a pen build and you shred this god. I don't think he's supposed to be this bad. I think his +1s in this game are good, but yeah, I don't know. There's really nothing to be said about a character that just loses you a lane when dual lane's the most important role in the game. So yeah, not impressed with Geb right now. Guan Yu. Hmm. I mean, look, the thing with Guan is his upside with you get the team fighting and the scaling and all that stuff is like it's great, and that's cool, you know? It's real cool. The problem I have with Guan Yu is I see this god lose so many games because he's just like a liability in the laning phase that even though the team fighting is so great, I wonder how many times you could have just picked a good laning phase character and a good fight character and just not run into the issue at all, you know? Now, I want to be clear, I'm like the resident Guan Yu player of Smite 1. I probably played that god in competitive more than anyone else did in Season 10 in the last competitive season. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just, the way that I look at it, right, is like, Again, the game is dual lane centric, so you're picking Guan Yu for what exactly? A great team fighting. Okay, that makes sense. But if you're gonna like put your game in jeopardy by just like losing the laning phase most of the time to good players, it's not a good look. I just don't think it's a good look. This guy has no range. That's not great. Um, and yeah, the healing's really nice, but yeah, you fall behind good luck. You're not really the best frontliner in the world, which is okay because they're kind of Guan Yu's always been a bit of a weird frontliner. But I think Guan Yu is one of those characters that his upside is like S tier and his downside is rip tier. Like this god is so volatile. And overall, I mean, I just don't really see a point in picking a character that can be S tier and can be like the worst god in the game when you just have soul laners that are really good that you can just pick and be fine with. I don't know. I don't see the value. You know, I think it's also important to realize like with Guan, he's one of those gods that needs more matchups in the game to be better. So Guan Yu was always a bad matchup god in Smite 1, but you know, in a world where Shiva exists, Vamana exists, Tyr exists, this god gets better, right? And he gets more value. But I mean, in a mage meta, you pick Guan Yu into Anubis, the game's just over. You pick Guan Yu into Achilles, the game's over. You pick Guan Yu into Hades, the game is over. Yeah. So many just like lost cons. Not a huge fan of Guan. Again, I'm only putting him this high because his upside's huge. Hades. Hmm. This is tough. I don't actually know. I mean, I'm a little torn. I'm gonna put him right ahead, or I'm gonna put him right behind Cab. I think this is probably surprising to some people. Some people would have him a little bit higher. The thing, and I'll actually put him behind Anubis as well. Is that too high? You know what? I think that's too high. We'll put him right here. Probably a bit surprising to a lot of people. I think expecting to see Hades higher. Um, what I would say with this pick is that backline solos tend to be somewhat risky. Now Hades is not a normal backline solo, so he's not really risky. But Hades generally, like where he's so good is he just dominates lanes against frontliners a lot of the time. So you pick the I don't know, the Kabrakens of the world and you kind of just get out farmed, right? That's sort of the idea. You pick a lot of these warriors, you kind of just get out farmed the Odins of the world. But the fact of the matter is if you're a good Mordred player, if you're a good um, Achilles player, if you're good on some of these high pressure frontliners, your lane's really not that big of a deal, and you're gonna be fine. And on top of that, the backliners, if you play into Hades, you play an Anubis solo into Hades, you play a Neath solo into Hades, which I'm a huge fan of. Yeah, you're gonna be like completely fine in that lane. In fact, you're gonna win it really, really hard. So, yeah, this Hades pick a little bit overrated, to be honest. It's fine, you can play it. I think it kind of takes advantage of soul laners being a bit noobish, to be truthful. So good, but not incredible. Hekate. This one's tough. I don't think she's great. I think she got a couple of little buffs time to time, but I'm not sold on her. I don't see her a lot. I think there's just much better mages. I'll put her behind Athena and Amma. Yeah, there's just kind of better options. Pressure, again, is just good in the game. Her fight is solid. Her buff is really good on her passive, but I don't know. I feel like there's just like a lot better mages. Like I really don't see a point of playing Akate right now. So that's kind of all I have to say about her. Hercules. This guy's definitely better in jungle than in solo, but I don't think he's good in either. Well, he's okay in jungle. I'll put him above Amma. With Herc, you're looking for a pendulum blade, and your damage is really good, but the downsides again are just so high. His 3 is garbage in this game. His ultimate is, still good. His 2 is a little bit better than it was in Smite 1, but yeah, I mean, you have to really like Herc jungle. This guy's really not great in solo. I just don't think Hercules is like a solid pick. I don't really see the value in the character. Sarita just got buffed, so maybe he's a bit better, but yeah, overall Hercules kind of just a bit forgetful right now. Mulan, worst god in the game. There's a lot of, I can make this a whole spiel, but there's a lot of developers and stuff who apparently, I guess in Titan Talks, are saying this god's not bad because of analytics and win rates and whatever bullshit. I'm about to finish a degree in that stuff, so I hope you know, it's important here, I think, to insert and say that like one of the first things I learned in those courses and stuff when I was a freshman was, hey, you know, you can make numbers say anything. And like numbers without context are useless. And I didn't need a course to learn that. So I'm a little disappointed, because they're like, man, Mulan has a good win rate in high elo. And she has a good win rate in deity. You know why? Because I play her. That doesn't mean she's good. She's garbage. This character is awful. I'm going to explain to you really quick why this god's awful, and I'll never talk about it again, okay? So here's what it is. Remember when we talked about Bologna, and we were like, okay, Bologna's bad. She doesn't work. But Bologna's kind of okay in the future because right now it's just a meta issue. Her items suck. She doesn't really have items that fit her, quite frankly, right? The game doesn't fit Bologna solo because the items don't fit her. Her aspect is like kind of meh. It exists, but it's like fine. But her plus ones are good. The shield block damage and all that stuff. Like it's solid, I guess, right? She's okay. And she just needs some good items for her to be better. Yeah, you can't take that with Mulan. Her items that are good are the best items in the game. Pendulum Blade, Pridwin, Nemean, uh, these ability like tank solos with Phoenix Shield and shit. She has the best items in the game and they're all good on her and she still sucks. Can you imagine what happens when Phoenix Shield gets worse? Can you imagine what happens when Nemean gets worse, which it just did? Can you imagine what happens when Ankh gets worse. Like, what does this character that's already useless do when she literally utilizes the best items in the game and she still sucks? This god is not safe. This god does way less damage than every other strong ability warrior. And yeah, she's just bad. I mean, we talk about like viability of soul laners. Think about the map in solo. Contrast it from Smite 1 to Smite 2. Now, Mulan was at times very bad in Smite 1 because she was not safe. Think about how condensed the lane was in Smite 1. Neutral objective where? Middle of the lane, Totem. Where was the second neutral? Middle of the lane, Silver Camp. Where was the third one? Naga, middle of the lane. And then the Rock. 4 neutral objectives all in the middle of the lane. So that's the most you have to be pushed out. You have the Bastions, of course, but you didn't have to be for those. So the most you had to be pushed out was the middle of the lane. You were pretty close to tower. You should be safe. And even then, Mulan was risky. Pair that now with Smite 2. Where's the totem? Off center, the middle of the lane, a little bit deeper kind of into the jungle. Where's the chest camp? A little bit deeper off to the side in the middle of the lane. Where are the back camps? Way off in the distance in the side jungle far from tower. So Mulan kind of needs proximity to safety to be viable. The map shape literally makes this god bad, which is insane to say. That's a lot of it. But the fact that her damage is just bad, I mean, I don't know how Mordred does more damage than her and has a significantly better ultimate and plus ones that actually do something. I don't even want to talk about how garbage this god's plus one is. This little shitty ass banner that gives you what 5% XP. It goes away in like 20 seconds, 5 auto attacks break it. Come on. This god is garbage. She sucks, and you can make an argument that because she utilizes the good items so much, she could be at the top of C tier, but this god is garbage, and you should never play her. And I play this character because I love Mulan. She's super fun, but if you're trying to win games, don't play this god. Anyways, Hunbats. Really good. Aspect on this character has revitalized him. He used to be broken with Aspect, then got nerfed 55 times, and then yeah, I don't really know. He's kind of just being played again, and he looks great. There's not really much to say about it. This pick has like taken over the high jungle rank scene again by storm and competitive scene and stuff. And he looks good literally every game I see him in. I don't really know what to say. I think a lot of it is that he's untargetable for a lot of the time. When you do your jump, like you do a lot of damage. You can like use your 3 and then teleport while channeling your 2. And so you think about it, you're like, you 3 somebody and then you TP while channeling your 2, you insta-stun, auto, jump away, they're 40% health, and you've been untargetable the whole time. It's very Morrigan Aspect-esque in a way, and the fact that you have your ult on a low CC cooldown, or a low cooldown, even though it got nerfed a couple of times, yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, to be truthful, I feel like Hunbat shouldn't be good, but he is. Like, because he's got nerfed so many times, but the CC, I guess, is just way too valuable, and the character kind of just shreds lobbies. Izanami, in my opinion, a lot of the same issues as Danzaburo. As good as her pressure is in the lane, to walk up and clear an Izanami, you're just putting yourself in like hell's door. I mean, you are walking right up in the lane, and where on her can be a little bit sketchy because he has to walk up to impale. Izanami has to stay there, and I just don't think that's feasible. This guy's not safe enough. Um, Bluestone being prevalent on a lot of soul laners, Crusher being decent on certain junglers like Pele, just Revealer out of her invis, not to mention things like Soul Reaver on mid laners, and all kinds of like ticking things. You have Erendite, which is actually like I think really underrated. Not that the invis is like what made Izanami good, but I don't know. I just don't really think she works right now. You really need a support with a lot of space creation to stand in front of her to give her an opportunity to play, and there's just better, safer hunters in the game. Speaking of one of them, Jing Wei, this god is awesome. Put her right behind Artemis. She has like not a lot of pressure, which kind of sucks, but her safety is immaculate. The safest god in the game from a hunter perspective, and yeah, that's important. I really value safety in characters in general. So yeah, big deal. The only reason she's not higher, pressure a little bit low. So Artemis gives you the pressure, a little bit less safety. Jingwei gives you the safety, a little bit less pressure. Just two sides of a different coin here, both very strong. Kali, best god in the game. I don't really think I need to discuss this, excuse me, much. This character is just a game ruiner. I don't know how she hasn't got nerfed yet. This is like genuinely. Oh no, she did get nerfed actually. My bad. She did get nerfed. It didn't matter. Yeah, best god in the game, permaban. Literally, this god, like junglers IQ with, have not had been able to play this character until I get off because yeah, um, I'm not letting it through ever. This guy just ruins the game. Her aspect is like actually really good in ADC, which is ridiculous. I'll have to get a game on that sometime. Kali jungle is just incredible. Non-aspect, of course. Kali mid is playable with a full int build, and that's really good. Literally, no matter what way you build this god, it's OP. It's ridiculous. This character is just absurd. So, yeah, permaban for sure. Khepri. Yeah, not a big fan of Khepri. There's the GOAT Strop92 who plays this. He's dominant on this pick, but besides that, not a huge fan. I'll put him at the bottom of B tier because I guess, like, having a revive is cool, but I just don't think defensive backliney supports that don't have a lot of uh, I'll put them above Cupid. And yeah, no, this is fine. I'm just not a huge fan of them. I don't think they're that good. Again, I think Baron and Afro are kind of exceptions because of the other utility they give, but I don't love these picks much. I just don't think this game, like, I think those supports got carried by auras, and without auras, they're just not the same. This guy with aspect and stuff, Khepri, that is, definitely helps him, so I don't think he's like quite Geb. I think he's okay, but yeah, overall, I don't know, not really looking to pick a Khepri in most of my drafts. Kukul Khan is weird because Book is bad, but I still think Cuckoo's pretty okay. I'm going to put him in A tier at the back end. I really like this god, so it kind of hurts. I think he's underrated, but everybody else kind of thinks he sucks. I feel like most people would be like insanely upset that I put Cuckoo over Akatse. I think even with Book and stuff, just the fact that Poly is such a good item, one of the best items in the game, this god has to at least be okay. Not, and again, B tier is okay, but A tier is like, on the good side. So I think Cuckoo's good, honestly. I know that might be a little bit unpopular, but I really do like this pick, and I think he's a little bit underplayed, even though maybe he's not loved because Book is not great. I just think the poly builds are so good on him, and yeah, big fan of them. Loki is a weird one. I'm gonna put him in A tier. I guess I'll just like thread him in the middle here, above Achilles, maybe above Hades. Sure. Yeah, this pick is solid. You have to hyper carry and farm in this guy. His late game is incredible. But his early game is fine. I think, from a damage sense, he's probably not the best jungler early and mid game, but because of how hard it is to like predict jungle pathing in Smite 2 in general, he can usually catch out players who are like really far up without realizing how far up they are. And that's not even like necessarily a bad player moment. I mean, obviously getting out of position is a bad player moment, but it's hard to know where people are, and doubly so if they're invisible half the damn game. So yeah, this pick is just hard to track. So is every jungler, and the fact that he can kind of get through his early mid game a lot of the time, because again, it's easy to snag a free kill here or there. And on top of the fact that his late game is just incredible, this pick is just super good. A little bit underplayed, actually extremely underplayed. I don't see a lot of Loki at all. Medusa is bad. It hurts me to say this. I think she's one of those Bluestone characters, and Bluestone's not great on hunters. You kind of have to build like a crit build or a pen build with attack speed, and I just don't think it's really a Medusa world in that type of game. The only character that kind of gets away with a weird build is Bari, and that's just because their numbers are awesome. So, yeah, not a huge fan of Medusa. I mean, I love this character. I wish she was better. I just don't think she's good. Merlin, A tier. We'll put him right above Loki, right behind Chalk. This god is solid with the aspect going the Phoenix Shield builds, really solid without the aspect, just playing him normal in mid. The pressure is not bad from a clear perspective. The fighting is a little bit weak, but the clear is really strong, and that's kind of enough in mid sometimes. You have good safety, the utility with the stand switches, and the cooldown resets and all that. Just make this character really solid. I mean, he's kind of just like a go-to mid. I know there's kind of always this like thing in competitive where like if you don't know a mid to pick, just pick Merlin. That's kind of always been one of the go-to things. So I think he fits pretty nicely, middle of A tier. Mordred, I'm gonna put an S tier. I'm gonna put him right behind Aladdin. I know this might be a little bit unpopular, but I'm of mind that this character is the best solo laner in the game right now, and yeah, that's kind of it. His lanes are incredible. He doesn't lose the lane. His pressure is super good. Phoenix Shield's OP, and yeah, I mean, when you have that much going for you, I don't really see what the weaknesses of this character is. Safety is so good, and he kind of like, I don't know. I mean, he really doesn't lose a lane. Like, when you don't lose a lane and you're a safe god, there's really no downside. This is like the inverse of Mulan. You win every lane, and you're always safe. It's awesome, and the god's great. Neath. And by the way, you guys are noticing something. You're like, wait, isn't your S tier really big? Yep, and I'm adding one more. Sorry. Do I want to put Neath above Mordred? Probably not. No, we won't. But you're probably going to notice you're like, wow, your S tier is huge. Isn't that like a bad thing? Yeah, it is. That's why, guys, in this game, we have to nerf characters. Like, I love Smite too. You guys know that. I'm really passionate about this game. I really do enjoy it. But the inability of this game's, like, scene to nerf characters that are good is, like, one of the craziest things in the world to me. I've never understood it. I can't understand it. It makes no sense to me. They just don't nerf gods. So gods are really good and they just don't get nerfed. It's crazy to me. All these gods are like viable of being banned, and you can only ban 4 of them. But yeah, Neath, pressure in mid's awesome, pressure in solo's awesome, pressure in ADC's awesome. And that's really all you have to say. This god's awesome. She's so fun. I hated Neath in Smite 1. I couldn't stand playing the god. I play this god all the time now. She's really, really great. And just, again, so much pressure. The safety's solid. The ultimate, obviously, I recommend going full int builds. I don't think the strength builds are good. I don't think the attack speed builds are that great. It's all about building full int Neath, and it just kind of owns. Nemesis, we're going to put in A tier as well. I'm going to put her right ahead of Loki. I think this character has really good value with Pendulum Blade. The shield in this game is incredible. Ultimate is a little bit weak, but it actually just got buffed, so I'm projecting kind of with this buff that she'll be maybe even a little bit better than this, a little bit higher along 8 tier. But yeah, Nem really good. Pendulum Blade being good makes this god good outright, and her 1v1s are incredible. You can split on the map, 1v1 split push, take flanks. A lot of the time your trades, again, are always kind of good, so just a really valuable pick. Nuwa, bottom of the barrel, right next to Mulan. These two are undisputedly the worst gods in the game. I mean, you could make an argument that Nuwa's worse. Yeah, I'd probably say she's worse. This god's garbage. No damage. She got nerfed like 45 times. I have no idea why she was bad already. And yeah, just don't play Nuwa. Odin. Um, yeah, dude, I don't see Odin at all, which I think I should. He's not that bad. He's okay. I don't think he's great. He's okay. He's worse than Serb. I'll put him like right here above Cuckoo. This character is not played because he's kind of scary into certain mages like Hades and Anubis. And he's also like kind of one of those gods that I think benefited when more soul laners were going Sunder. A lot of soul laners are going Shell now, and a lot of supports are going Shell as well. But I think that's a bit of a mistake. I actually think you still need Sunder in support, not in solo, but in support you do. So because of that, yeah, I still think the pick's good. I mean, look, even into Shell drafts, like he's just a safe pick. His pressure is like underrated, and his passive is really strong with getting free strength in it. So Odin, not the best god in the game by any means, but definitely underplayed. This is one of those characters that needs to see more play. I never see him picked. Pele, really good. Pele is super strong. I think she just got buffed again. Or no, she got nerfed, sorry. But yeah, the nerf didn't matter. This character's very underrated. Again, I'm talking about a lot of underrated picks here, which is fun. Her damage is just incredible. Her 1v1's incredible. And I think in a game where there's so much ready to access lifesteal and ability healing with things like the Reaper, I mean, when did Pele really function well in Smite 1? When you could go like a defense item and you could go Soul Eater. And you have items that are better than Soul Eater in this game, and you have defense items that are a lot better than single defense items in Smite 1. So by every account, Pele is just awesome, and as a result, excuse me, she kind of just is. Poseidon, I don't think is very good. I'm gonna put him like in B tier above Hecate. His aspect was broken, and then they killed it, and now he's just like forgettable. I don't know. I mean, he's okay. You can play him. Should you? Probably not. Bari. We'll put her at the top end of A tier, right behind Wheelix and Ares. She used to be an S tier. She got nerfed like 45 times. This god is still very good. I think the thing with Bari is like I'm trying to figure out, because I don't play this god a lot, I'm just kind of learning her now. Trying to figure out like what the best builds are. Because if you don't have strength and you go full int, which people say is the best, your autos suck. You can go poly for in hands and it's like fine, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's like consistently the best thing. The biggest problem with Bari, she's just a little bit unsafe. And she's probably best in mid, but even then she can be pretty unsafe. She's still really good. Again, I'm saying the problem when I'm saying she's still one of the best gods in the game. Her fight is so strong that you're really always happy with playing this pick. So by all means, player, great pressure god, especially first couple levels, really can kind of just run a lobby. And you'll see me in the streams continuing to play her. So hopefully that's a good thing. Probably won't be though. We'll see. Ra will put in B tier. The god's damage is really good. I'm gonna put him in A tier. I'm gonna put him above Odin. I think the Nimble Ring Ra builds are really good. So you go full in with Nimble Ring and you use her too, and your autos like hit super hard and really fast. The god's safety again, not the best, but Cersei's again is like the cheat code. And his damage output is actually really good. The ult secure is valuable. The cooldown's so low. Again, it's kind of hard to rationalize playing this god a lot because he's not that safe, but his value is really high, so yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm torn, but I do like the character. I do think you should play him. I just, it's sometimes a little bit hard to rationalize him, but his pressure is good, his fight's good, and his damage is high, so good pick overall. Rama, I think, is garbage. I really don't like this character. I think he's better than Medusa, better than... he's probably better than these gods. I'll put him at the top of C. Hunters are weird, man, because I don't think hunters are bad by any means, but I think they're just exclusive and kind of limited. Like, I feel like these guys are just trash. I don't know. I just don't like Rama. I think his aspect is awful, and I don't think the god is that safe. His ultimate's good, but so what? Truthfully, like, so what? I don't know. I just don't like Rama. I don't think he... I don't know if I don't think he fits, but I don't know. He doesn't feel safe. Like, the thing is other hunters are using Cersei's to ult out, or to escape, and he's going up in the air to stand still and do some damage back. And it's like, it's kind of mid. I don't know. I don't like this pick. I'm not happy when I see Rama. I feel like ADCs are really good right now, but they're a very exclusive pool. And if you step out of the top end, you're trolling. So yeah. Scylla, kind of the headliner, just came out. I'm going to put her in the high end of A tier. I think this god's very good. She's very scaly. She like became like Kale in this game if you play League. Her damage is a lot weaker up front, but it's a lot better subtly and kind of through time. Her scaling is higher. Her base damages are lower, but you have ultimate stacking scaling on the obviously on the ultimate. You have Polynomicon built into your 3. You have a lingering protection reduction on your 2. And all that stuff combined with the fact that you're already building poly, so you're threading autos eventually on this character, means that Syl is very good, but she just takes longer to get online. And the reason why that's not a problem is she's literally the Jing Wei of mages. She is so safe. You're worried about getting blown out from a pressure perspective, but not because of dying unless you're just inting. So yeah, obviously weak early, but her laning phase is very good in the sense that she's just very safe, so she won't die. And that's important sometimes. Sometimes it's literally all you need. Sobek, the nerfs I think hurt this god actually, which I'm happy to see. I didn't think the nerfs were going to do much, but even just a little bit of cooldown off this character, and I think just the fact that Ares is really kind of risen in prominence, and more Cersei's, as although the item is like kind of cringe, it does help. Very like singular engaged characters like Sobek stay from being the best gods in the game all the time. He's fallen a bit. He's still really good. You could still play him all the time, but yeah, he's a little bit worse. I mean, happy stuff, guys. I'm gonna put Sobek ahead of Wish. I think he's still up here, but yeah, bordering on the S tier, but a little bit worse, and I'm happy to see it. Soul pick. Uh, hmm. I'll put her in A tier. I think she's good. I don't think Aspect Soul is needed. I actually think non-Aspect Soul is really solid, especially in solo. Um, she's kind of like a better Kurninos. They do the same thing in the sense that they kind of just like die, but her pressure is better. And especially if you play her like in solo non-aspect, you're gonna get up like 3,000 gold a lot of the time. So a really good 1v1, a really good fight, really good pressure. Not the safest pick in the world, but if you're just trying to look at like pressure and no safety, I mean this pick is debatably better than Artemis. So solid pick. Um, yeah, you kind of have to be okay with dying, but if you go Axe and like Shell on her, you'll be okay sometimes just 2v1ing. So yeah, overall pretty good god. Susano got buffed a lot. Do I like him? Not really. I'm going to put him at the top of B tier. The problem with Susano to me is just, although his fighting and stuff is better and he has good pick potential, like on backliners, again, the Cersei stuff really hurts him. And I feel like there should never be a world where Susano wins a 1v1 into a Wheelix or Pele or Nem or Hunbats or Fenrir, like ever, or Kali, right? So all the junglers above are good at 1v1ing for the most part, or fantastic at 1v1ing. And I feel like they're generally pretty good into Susano. I feel like Susano needs games where he's a good pick in terms of like countering. He's kind of a counter pick. And I just feel like it's way too easy to get a draft that Susano's just bad into right now. Like when it's like reasonable to go Ares literally every game as a support, it's reasonable literally every game to go Hunbat's Aspect or Fenrir or Agni. Like when do you play this pick? I don't really know. Because like what do you want to pick Susano into? You want to pick him into Ra or Cuckoo, and it's like, okay, all right. Do you want to pick him into Anubis? I don't think so. Maybe. I mean, I guess he's good into Scylla probably, right? I just, I don't know. He seems fine, but I feel like more gods he's good into have to be better and more viable to see him more. Thanatos got buffed. I still think he sucks. I'll put him in B tier, like behind Amma and Poseidon and Akatse and Guant. Yeah, I'll put him like here. I don't know. I just don't see any point of playing Thana. I feel like he's too volatile and too risky when you have gods that do like as much, if not more damage, and they have no risk. Like literally no point in playing this character. I don't know. He's very Mulan-esque, where it's like we're gonna sacrifice a lot of safety to get okay damage off when we can just pick something better that's more safe and does more damage. What's the point? He's a lot better than Mulan, but same idea. The Morrigan is going to go into the A tier on the high end. Probably behind, probably ahead of Scylla, like right here maybe. Her pressure in solo is incredibly strong. Her pressure in mid is incredibly strong. The aspect is very good. It's hard to gauge this character because she's competitively banned because of bugs like almost all the time. But her support is very strong as well. She's a really good Sobek counter pick and support with aspect. She struggles a little bit into Ares, but even then it's like kind of laughable. And just her ultimate being as good as it is makes this character always valuable. The fact that she can triple flex also, like flexing in drafts, is super impactful. And like she's good in 3 roles. I think her best role competitively is probably support, but yeah, the pick is solid. She's getting a little bit worse in solo because she's getting more bad matchups, but even then, I mean, her support value alone makes her at least worthy of A tier. Thor mm, is going to be at the high end of A tier. I'm going to put him right ahead of Sobek. This character's pressure is great. He's a fantastic solo laner. The only problem with Thor is I really don't like him into Mordred at all. Like, I think it's really not good. And yeah, that's a big problem because you're going to be seeing this god damn near every game, and there's better picks into Mordred. I think that's really the big hurt of Thor. Even saying that he's bordering S tier, having frontliners in solo is really important. He's kind of a frontliner, but he kind of cheats a bit. So I'm a little less like, I don't know, impassioned when I see this character as I normally would. Yeah, a little bit mixed on him. He's good, but could be a little bit better. He doesn't need any buffs or anything. It's just like if Mordred gets a little bit worse, he's instantly going to replace him in S tier, and they'll just swap. Uller is not good. I think he's better than Medusa, but not by much. I'll put him right behind Rama. Again, ability hunters and an auto attack crit meta. Yeah, no good. Transcendence is garbage. That's why this character sucks. Vulcan is very good. This god is awesome. We just saw Weaken drop an 80k bomb on this kit on this pick, so that was cool. I think he's probably worse than Scylla. This is probably pretty debatable and controversial. Some people might have him really high. I like Vulcan. I think he's good. I just think he's a little unsafe. His pressure is awesome, but yeah, a little bit unsafe. I know you can use the Cersei's and all that stuff. He is a triple flex, though he's a bit bait in solo. Pretty good in support. There's a world you put him a little bit higher. I'm very high on Scylla, so maybe I'm like in a minority on that, but yeah, I think Vulcan's a solid, great A tier pick. Yamoja, I'm not a huge fan of. Again, she's in this defensive support tier. I think she's just a worse support than a lot of characters. I'll put her right here in a B. I know she's kind of like oh, if you're really good at the game, you're going to own with Yamoja. I just don't think that's true right now. I don't know. I don't love these backline supports. I don't think they're good. I don't think they do a lot. Again, Yamoja really got carried by a lot of auras, really good healing and good shielding. There's anti-shielding in the game now. No auras really in Smite 2. And yeah, I don't know. Like her matchups in duo lane, a lot of the supports cook her. Not a huge fan. Ymir got buffed, although he was already really good. This god is like a high-end A tier. This character is incredibly strong. We'll put him right behind Ares. One of the best supports in the game. One of the best picks in the duo lane. Great safety because of the wall bounce. Really good pressure. And Cersei's feels amazing on this character. Really good, easy engage. Just an awesome pick. Ymir is so much fun, so strong, kind of flexible in solo, very sneakily underrated in jungle, and I'll get some more videos on this guy. I love Ymir. And a final pick, Zeus. Zeus is awesome. Zeus is one of the best mages in the game. We'll put him right ahead of Bari. I think this character's value in mid is incredible. Really good with the pocket Afra. You kind of just win a lot of games off that alone, quite honestly. I'm actually going to put him a little bit above Ymir. I think this character is awesome. Do I like this? I think I do, yeah. Zeus is just so powerful. His damage is incredibly strong. You can make an argument he should be a little bit higher, and I think that's fair, like somewhere maybe right like behind Sobek. But yeah, either way, his pressure is great. His fight's great. Again, the safety with Bloodbound, Cersei's, and Jade Scepter. You go all three in a row sometimes. It's really cheesy. It's really OP. And yeah, I mean, there's literally no downside to this character that you would normally think of because, again, his damage is just so high. His solo lane is really good. He's a great Hades counter pick. Really good into some of the other mage solos as well. And yeah, I mean, the fact that you can play him in 3 roles like pretty reasonably is just awesome. Even decent in jungle, which is like cool. So super flexible, really good pressure, really good fight. Awesome character. And yeah, that's the tier list. So I know we yapped for a while, but wanted to make sure it was thorough. And this is the whole thing. Mulan is garbage. And yeah, that's it. Kali's OP. Good stuff. Let me know what you guys thought, what you guys think. Really do appreciate it. And I'll see you guys all very soon. Peace.